and welcome. David Levin here, Raising Your Game Today. This is Tuesday, so we're talking sports and sports parenting. And this week, we're talking about instincts, our hardwired, innate instincts, and how they affect us as an athlete. So I'm watching another sports documentary this week, also on Netflix, also from the same production company that did the golf and tennis shows. This one's about Formula One racing, called Drive to Survive. Not sure if I'm going to love it as much as the others, but there was one comment from a driver in one of these first episodes that really got my attention. He said, you're going into a corner over 200 miles an hour, which I cannot even imagine, by the way, but going into a corner that fast, your mind is saying, brake now, brake now, brake now. But you have to push yourself to ignore that and brake later. So in other words, your fear is telling you one thing, and you have to learn to push through that and do something else. First, let's just say how powerful that experience must be. Fear and survival, safety, is one of our most primal drives. It takes over everything else, and that's a good thing, right, when we need it. If we're in real danger, we want our system to get us out of there as quick as possible. But as a racer, that fear instinct does not understand the capabilities of a modern race car, right? It's perfectly safe to go into that corner faster you think you should, or at least safe enough. I'm still not sure I'd want to do it. So to be your best, your fastest as a racer, you have to ignore that fear over and over again. Ignoring fear is one of the hardest things there is. It reminds me of flying. I have my pilot's license. Haven't flown for years, but I have my license. I know what that training's like. And one of the main things you learn as a pilot, and they don't say it in this way, but the reality is it's how to override your instincts. There are many situations in flying where the signals your body is sending you are wrong. And if you follow them, you can get yourself into trouble. The classic one is when your wing stalls. A wing stall is when the wing gets too steep compared to the oncoming wind, and it stops generating lift. When that happens, the nose drops, and you start heading pretty steeply towards the ground. So as you can imagine, when that happens, your instinct is to pull back on the stick, right? Get that nose back up. But the actual way to break a stall is to do the opposite, to push forward on the stick and point further down towards the ground. You do that first, you get the wing flying again, and then you can start to gently pull back to level out. So that's a classic example, and you have to train yourself to do that. In fact, a common story you hear, sort of a sad story, is that a stall will happen. You've got a passenger in the right seat with their own stick. Planes always have two sticks, right? And the passenger's not trained, and their survival instinct kicks in, and they start pulling back on the stick while you're trying to push forward and pull out of the stall. And again, it totally makes sense that they would do that, right? Ignoring that survival instinct takes training. Another example, not quite as apparently about survival, but it's related. Chris Bosh, in his excellent book, I've talked about this before, Letters to a Young Athlete, talks about the constant exhaustion of playing at that level. And it's very similar. He says the main thing you're training at that level is to keep yourself pushing, keep pushing through when every fiber of your being says you need to stop. You're too tired, there's nothing left, it's too painful, you can't go on. But you actually can, there is more there. You just have to push through the instinct to get to that place. I just think that's so fascinating and powerful. And taking this to a higher level, sort of a higher view of it, the same thing is actually true in every aspect of our lives. As a general rule, our instincts work against the things that will make us happy and successful. One of our base instincts is to be concerned with what others think of us, and it makes sense. At a survival kind of level, we're a social species. We need to be part of the group to survive. We really do need to care about what others think of us and make sure we're welcome in the group. But as every athlete I work with tells me, worrying about what others think of us is a killer during competition, right? Here's another way instincts affect our performance. Great players push their boundaries. They stretch. They're creative. They try new things. They take risks. But when our primary drive is to survive and be safe and be included, there's a lot of resistance to pushing boundaries and taking risks. And here's maybe the biggest one of all. At a pure performance level, and I say this over and over again, peak performance comes when you get out of your head and be completely present and focused in the moment. But all of the worry and fear and distraction, all those negative thoughts and emotions, they're doing everything they can to pull us off into our head pretty much every moment. So again, the core skill we need to be our better, happier, more successful selves is to learn to override our instincts and act in a conscious, intentional way. Now, do I mean we need to do that? Do I mean we need to do that every moment? No, that's too much and probably not even possible in the first place. But we do need to learn how to do it in those moments when it's required, like during competition, whether it's racing or basketball or flying, or really any situation where we need to be at our best while we're also under pressure. This is the fundamental skill. The good news is it can be learned. And the plug is, that's what we teach in the Sports Academy. End of plug. Is that the shortest plug ever? Might be. Anyway, that is a powerful and important lesson for raising your inner game. If we're trying to push ourselves to be our best, almost by definition, that's going to mean we're going to feel deep, unconscious resistance at every step of the way. And so getting to that next level means learning to push through that resistance. So bringing it back to teenage athletes. First, understand that the things they're struggling with come from the same place as the fear that race driver was talking about. They may not look like literal survival fears, but they all come from the same survival evolutionary impulses, and they are as deeply wired into our system. So it also makes sense to be less judgmental with kids who are having trouble playing up to their potential. Again, these instincts are hardwired. We can't just wish them away. We need to learn how to manage them. First, we need to learn to boost our self-awareness so we understand what's happening. And then we need to learn specific skills, the skills it takes to overcome them. Cognitive control, emotional self-regulation, impulse control. These are the skills, and they don't happen by themselves. They have to be learned. Again, easy to do, quick to learn with the right system, even shorter plug there. But until a kid has had that opportunity, we should not be judging them for being controlled by their instincts. Okay, we're all wired to do exactly that. All right, that's what I wanted to talk about this week. Are your instincts hurting your game? And the truth is they probably are, because they do in every area of our lives. I hope that makes sense, because this is super powerful to see. It both gives us, like I said, some space, some grace to be more understanding as to how hard the work is, but also it shows us a path to break through. We just need to develop that self-awareness and those self-regulation skills. All right, if you do have teenagers in sports and you want to help them learn how to overcome their instincts and break through to that next level, check out our Mental Game Starter Kit. The Starter Kit is a great set of resources to help you start boosting their mental game. Just go to raiseyourinnergame.com, scroll to the bottom. You can learn about it and register there. It's all free, of course. We also offer private and group coaching that is remarkably effective. You can learn about that. I just talked with another student today, and I'm just full of just amazement at the difference it makes. If you like what you heard on today's show, please tell your friends and rate and review us on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to pods. Every review helps more people find the show and get the mental game boost they need. If you'd like to support the show so we can keep things ad-free, please click the Buy Me a Coffee link below, and thank you for that. Also, if you're listening to the audio and you like video, we post all our episodes on YouTube as well. There's a link to that in the show notes. And finally, as always, we'll close with Steve Prefontaine, the legendary long-distance runner, and his quote from the end of the book, Raise Your Inner Game. The quote is, "To give anything less than your best is to sacrifice your gift." That's what we're doing. We're working to be our best and help our kids be their best, both on and off the field. So keep up the good work, and we'll see you next time.